go from my 40s where I wasn't happy with my body to in my 50s where I got in the best shape of my entire life. I had to quit certain things, and those are things that I would recommend you quit to get the body of your dreams. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal, and this channel is all about helping you, if you're a woman over 40 or like me over 50, get in fantastic shape. And in this video I'm going to be talking about the 5 things I quit and you need to quit to transform your body and get the body of your dreams over 40, over 50 or over 60. Because you are gonna have to give some things up, because if you think about it, most people in their 40s, 50s and 60s, they are actually gonna gain weight. They're not gonna lose weight. So naturally your body is gonna put more fat on unless you do something about it. You can reverse that and you can actually lose body fat, but you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. I made some sacrifices, and there are things that I do not do now, like eating pizza and drinking alcohol, that I would have done in my 40s. I just don't do them anymore. And you've also got to give up the things that you did to lose weight in your younger days, because it actually doesn't work anymore. So the first thing I'm going to talk about quitting, and that is alcohol. I've done a whole video on alcohol and why I quit, so I'm not going to go into it here, but I am going to talk about why it doesn't do you any favors anymore. And basically your body has changed, so you have much more of a propensity for dehydration, and so alcohol is only going to make that worse. The other thing with alcohol is I highly recommend you do strength training, and strength training is what has transformed my body. However, if you do strength training and you drink alcohol, scientific studies show that you're not going to get the muscle growth if you drink alcohol. It also affects your performance in the gym, because it's another way that you tend to be, even the next day, a little bit dehydrated and not firing on all cylinders. And the other big thing is it's actually really hard to lose body fat if you drink alcohol. So alcohol has calories in it, doesn't it? So this is a sparkling wine, and if you have 1 glass of this sparkling wine, it's going to be 200 or 300 calories. Well, you could have had a meal with that. It is going to cause you to gain weight if you're drinking alcohol. And if you are perimenopausal or menopausal, what it's going to do is actually going to make your menopause symptoms worse. So, you're going to wake up with night sweats. As I've said, it's making you dehydrated, but it actually makes all your menopause symptoms much worse. So alcohol really doesn't serve you anymore. I'll put it another way. If you drink alcohol, you're really going to struggle to lose weight. So it is one of the things you need to stop doing when you get older in order to lose body fat and get in amazing shape. The next thing I'm going to talk about that you need to give up is ultra processed food. Lots of food has a certain amount of processing in it, so a lot of the food that we buy, but some of it is ultra processed. What that's going to do is it's going to actually cause disruption to your hormones, and in particular at this time in life your hormones are all over the place and out of kilter. Ultra processed foods, that's foods with a lot of chemicals in, and they've been through a real process before it gets to your table. So it's things like chicken nuggets, it's kind of some of that fake meat that you can buy instead of real meat, it's some of the breakfast cereals, really the food that is packaged up very far removed from its natural state. That does not serve you anymore when you are older. And it's the same that goes for sugar, because sugar is a processed food after all. So refined sugar I'm talking about, not the sugar that you find naturally in fruit if you eat fruit, but refined sugar, that's another processed food. You need to be stopping eating that. And I hardly eat any sugar these days. The only time I have sugar is in a square or two of 70% dark chocolate, and that has very little refined sugar in it. And the other kind of processed foods that can be a problem are things like white flour. So your pasta and your white bread, you want to be avoiding that, because what they do is they actually give you a blood sugar spike. What we can find in this stage in life is we're actually more prone to insulin resistance. So we want to keep the carbohydrates to more of the whole grains. That's what's going to serve us so much better at this stage in life. So I've virtually given up things like pasta, white bread. I don't eat pizza anymore, as I said at the start, because I know it's not going to serve me anymore. Watch right until the end, because I'm going to tell you the most powerful thing that I quit, and it has made the most difference out of everything else. The next two things I'm going to talk about, so they're number 3 and 4, things you should quit doing for weight loss over 40. They're the things that you traditionally, when you were younger, really got fantastic results from, and they simply do not work when you're older. So you've got to quit doing them. You've got to throw out of the window what you already know about fat loss. And so the third thing that I'm going to talk about is excessive cardio. So excessive cardio, like long distance running. So I'm talking about things like training for a marathon and training for half marathons. And I know loads of you write comments about this saying, oh, you love running. I'm not talking about whether you love it or not. I used to love it. I used to be a really keen runner. I've taken part in 2 half marathons, and yes, I used to love it. I actually don't love it anymore, to be honest with you, and I don't miss it at all. But it's not going to serve you for weight loss, because extended periods of intense cardio. So I'm not talking about walking. Walking's actually really good at this stage in life, especially if you combine it with strength training. I'm talking about strenuous cardio. We've just got to cut down the amount of strenuous cardio we do, because what that does is it actually reduces your muscle. It breaks muscle down. And what does muscle do? Muscle helps with your metabolism, and you've lost metabolism through the aging process. So you're losing it at a rate of 1% per year. And you know, since I've quit running, I think I was in the worst shape of my life when I was actually running in my late 40s, and I just purely focused on strength training and high intensity interval training, and not doing cardio for much more than 30 minutes per session. I'm in way better shape now than I was 7 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was doing all that running, because what's happened is it's enabled me to actually build much more muscle. And so muscle, what that does is it boosts your metabolism and helps your body burn fat more easily. That is what has given me the shape that I am today. So giving up running was actually one of the best decisions I made. And I can tell you that people in the bodybuilding community, they were actually telling me to give up running for years, and I didn't listen. And when I did listen, I got fantastic results from it. You don't have to give it up, but I would keep it down to 30 minutes, a maximum of 40 minutes. Otherwise, it's going to prevent you from actually being able to build muscle. It's actually really, really hard for women over 40 to build muscle, and so you don't want to do anything that makes it even more difficult. So the fourth thing I'm going to talk about quitting is extremely low calorie and extremely low carb diets. They don't work in the long term, because again, what they do is they they actually cause you to lose muscle mass. The best thing for you to do, and what I do, is get yourself into a smaller calorie deficit. That's eating the right amount of food that's going to fuel your body correctly for working out preferably, but doesn't put it into starvation mode, under 1300 calories for example, and really extremely low carb diets, under 50 grams of carbohydrates per day. What that's going to do is going to cause you to lose more muscle. And as I said before, you can't afford to lose muscle. What you want to be doing is putting muscle on. So what they can do is those sort of extremely low carb, extremely low calorie diets, they can cause you to lose weight in the short term and get you results, scale weight lost on the scale, but it's going to result in a worse body composition, which is actually going to screw your metabolism. You can build your metabolism up, so if you've done that, you can do what's called reverse dieting. So that's gradually walking your calories up or gradually walking your carbohydrates up. So all is not lost. You can rebuild your metabolism, especially if you combine it with strength training. But don't start to go down that route, because in the long term it's not going to work. Because what happens when you lose the weight and you return to how you were eating before is you're actually going to put the weight on, and even more so. Studies show that people on very low calorie, low carb diets, actually they don't sustain it, and what happens is they regain all the weight. The number 5 thing that I would love you to quit is self-doubt. And I had an awful lot of self-doubt when I was in my 40s. I'm now 56 and I've got a lot more confidence in myself. Once you hit your 40s, you can lose your confidence, and it starts to happen because of your physical appearance, but also the changes in your body that are going on because of perimenopause and menopause can really cause you to have a lack of confidence. And that's exactly what I had. And at the same time, I was in a difficult marriage. I had a marriage breakdown, and that really undermined my confidence as well. I used to think to myself, when I saw other women that looked fantastic, I used to think, well, that's not really for me, that's for somebody else. So they've got something that I haven't got. But when you start to believe in yourself, build your mental confidence, actually you have got just as much chance as anybody else as achieving your body of your dreams. It doesn't matter where you started. Even if you weigh a lot more now and you're looking to lose weight, I've actually done a really good couple of videos with somebody called Io who lost 100 pounds in scale weight. And it doesn't matter where you started from, you can achieve the body of your dreams just like anybody else. You don't have to have an athletics background. I don't have a sports or an athletics background. I started from not a very good starting point, but what I had was a lot of determination, and what I built up through the process was self-belief. So I started to look at other women, other Amazonian women that look absolutely incredible, and I started to kind of network with them, and I thought to myself, well, if they can do it, I can do it. I have got just as much chance if I'm prepared to put the work in. And as I said at the start, make the sacrifices, because actually they're not a huge sacrifice, are they? They're just sacrifices around food, to switching your exercise up a bit, and they're sacrifices in terms of commitment in the long term. That's what's going to make the difference. Believe in yourself. You can achieve anything you want to. It's all about mindset.